and document everything that I come up with. Now, we talk about history. Let's go to that. Because yesterday I had a conversation with a guy. He was talking about Islam. So, that was like the main thing. We kind of like jumped around based on questions. But he knew a lot about it, whether somebody was happening or whatever, but it was just him. But he knew a lot. That's what I've been reading right now. Reading a lot about Christopher Columbus. There's parts of the story that doesn't make sense. Okay, let's take the Dominican Republic thing. At one point he thought it could have been an island near Japan or Japan itself. He still considered the Bahamas overall to be the Indies. Now, he was under this impression still when he went back to Spain, correct? But have you ever read his journals? Okay. If we read his journals, he gives a description of how those people look on all of those islands, generally speaking, okay? Some people were like a bronze complexion, but he claimed that they looked like the people in the Canary Islands. You know what that's at? Yes. Yeah, between Spain and North Africa, basically. So, and then another group he came across, he said they were pretty dark, but not as dark as, sub-Saharan Africa. But their hair, he described it to be a coarse texture. Your hair is not a coarse texture. It's thick. It's pretty thick and it's dark. So how in the hell is it that when he went back to Spain, he thought it was an island near Japan? That's why I say I don't completely agree with the story. And look, that's just one part of the story. Let me, dang. So all this, just take it so I got the chance to get it. Well, look, that's only like one part of the story. It's a lot of criticisms that I have. Now, what I want to do is, like I say, on my YouTube page, which is called Fake Check Case, I want to put my perspectives together and then record myself. At the moment, I got no choice but to do it through my phone, and then put it out there to the world. And maybe open a lot of people's minds. Like I'm at the library today, it was a letter that was written to Christopher Columbus by this guy named Paul O. something. Today was the first time I ever heard of his name. So I'm asking the librarian to try to find his letter. She's going through articles after articles, and we both basically reached the same conclusion. A lot of American books, no offense to the country, seem not to have the direct fucking information that you need. All we came across was somebody else that read the letter and then gave their own, translation on it. Like they didn't just hit it verbatim. They basically summarized what he was talking about. Stuff like that I can't stand. But that seems to be the normality here. So I don't know. We're looking at shadows instead of seeing the actual vision of the dance. And we're content with it. We're concerned with the limitations. Played okay? Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll give you another one. Since you touched on it. A lot of people didn't know about Lee Erickson. Maybe it's just my primary frame, or part of my frame of reference. You know who that is? No. Oh, you're not kidding. Sorry. Wait, you're not kidding, are you? I didn't catch the name. Lee Erickson. Is he a sociologist? Nah. Okay. I mean, you could call him that. I mean, he did venture to other places and kind of analyze the people he came across. So, you could say a sociologist, probably not, the name sounds avid. I can't pinpoint. Basically, he was a Scandinavian. He was a Viking. Okay. He basically just followed in the footsteps of his father. His father's name was Erik the Red. Okay. Now, his father discovered, I know you know where Greenland is, right? Yeah. He discovered Greenland. Okay. He established a settlement called Brattahlid in southern Greenland, sometime between the 980s. The exact date, I couldn't pinpoint it. And maybe that's due to our books. But anyway, Lee Erickson grew up. He became his father's deputy, at least one of them. All right? There was a guy named Bjarni who knew Erik the Red. and he was looking. No, he had a father that went to Greenland to Eric the Red camp. So he was with him. So he started selling, according to the story. So-called, he didn't have a compass, which doesn't make sense because if you're a navigator, you're going to have everything you need. So see, this is based on a little saga that they put out during the 13th century, so it might be errors here and there. But based on the story, he didn't have a compass. He ended up getting lost, and I think it was stormy weather, so he ended up going west. When he went west, by accident, he came across the Baffin Island, which is what they call it today. That's like at the fucking eastern end of northern Canada. It's right next to northern Canada, but like it's an island. He came across that place. So obviously he kept selling southwest. When he sells southwest, that's when he's seeing what we call today Quebec, or the area that Newfoundland was at. The same fucking island, I guess you would say, that El Ansi Meadows was built at, by at least Erickson. Anyway, he's seen these land masses, and then it was another one, Markland. He's seen that land mass as well, which is also between Baffin Island. You got the Hudson Strait that separates both of those regions. Okay. So he sailed around or whatever, but he never landed.
He never made it to mainland Canada, you say?
No, he made it to Canada. He just never touched down. But it did look different than Greenland because he'd been to Greenland already before, so obviously he's familiar.
Not.
Right. And it still don't make sense because why would you sail southwest?
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, he eventually ended up making it to Greenland.
Okay.
All right? This is in 986, so he never touched down.
Okay.
Now, he communicated his experiences, and even though he didn't have a compass, being an experienced navigator, I guess, like the direction stuck in his head, even though it was accidental. Yeah. So he communicated that to Eric the Red. Yeah. Obviously, at least Eric and his son caught wind of it. Yeah. He was kind of interested in it. But he didn't make the journey until 14 years later. Okay. 1000 AD, that's when he said, okay, let me check this out. He got Eric the Red permission to do that because he was just a deputy at that time. So he bought the same exact ship that Bjarni accidentally sailed to North Canada in. When he bought the ship, that's when he gathered the crew. He had this guy named Thorvald, Carl Stephanie, a whole crew of people with him. I believe he had Goodrich at the time, somebody named other sister Freddie. There's a whole bunch of a host of other people, but those are the main characters. So he made a journey. He sailed there. He touched down in Newfoundland. He called it Finland. When I first read the story, I got it confused. I thought it was Vineyard, but he called it Finland. Now, at the eastern part of Finland is where he set up his colony and called it El Ansi Meadows. That's my spelling of it. That was in 1000 AD, right? Later on, eventually, Eric the Red ended up dying. So when he died, Leif Erikson became the head chief. All right? And he became the head chief. Obviously, he wasn't that interested in making a journey back there. But the people that went with him initially still were interested. The guy Thorvald, Carl Stephanie, he ended up going as well with Leif Erikson's sister, Goodrich. So they went there to that colony, and they did explore the rest of the area, too. And Carl Stephanie and Goodrich ended up having a child, supposedly the first child from Europe that was born there. They called the child Snorri. So, yeah, some additional journeys made, but nobody never got the chance to really fully settle there because Carl Stephanie ended up getting attacked by Indians. Now, the fucking interesting thing to me is that it's a group of Native Americans or Native Aborigines. They call them Dorset people. Yeah. Dorset people supposedly didn't have arrows and bows. So it was another group that attacked them. Who was this group? I don't know. But obviously,
strong enough to take down some fucking Nordic Vikings.
That is weird because they did refer to these Aborigines as Skraeling, meaning weak and meek, small. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm going to throw a curse word up in here now. At the same time, y'all motherfuckers never settled permanently. So obviously, they wasn't that weak. Maybe their physical physique, maybe their physique was.
You know, I'm picturing these guys. I mean, these are Vikings.
Right.
There's a reason why that area produces tall people. What if by weak and meager, they're talking about their height because they're smaller?
That's what I meant.
And more compact.
I mean, that's how I took it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to fast forward for example. It's like, okay, they call him Skraeling, right? But when Christopher Columbus first made it to the Bahamas, if you read his journals, he did give those people a compliment. He didn't say they were big and swole, but he said that they had, like, healthy bodies and that they were really attractive. He referred to them as handsome. So it's like, okay, if you go back north, they probably were pretty healthy, too, especially if they're living in a green environment. But, you know, relative to the Vikings, it probably wasn't as big. But still, if you're healthy, if you watch UFC, you got big guys sometimes going to get somebody that looks small and they still lose. It's the agility of your movements and your warrior mentality and what you know. Art of War, Sun Tzu. Size doesn't always matter. Something happened. I'm not denying the fact that these Vikings were huge, more than likely. Heavy body armor and shit like that. But something happened, and I don't think it was just the environment, to where they never had a permanent settlement there
They didn't want
that exists until this day.
Yeah.
Now, in Greenland, let's take Greenland and Iceland. You had settlements there, even though the one in Greenland ended up being abandoned eventually. But still, those settlements lasted for a pretty long time. And that's more north. So it's colder. All right, that's near the Arctic. I'm just saying, but factually speaking, the gist of the matter is that settlement in Greenland didn't exist up until this day. They eventually got abandoned. So how is it that you're going more north, you're going closer to the Arctic, yet you can establish a permanent settlement in Finland? Because these people were kicking their ass. That's why. Right, that's what I think happened. Now, also, let me throw something else up in there about the whole little North American extension. I would say that Bajani and Leif Erikson were the first documented personalities throughout history to see and touch down. Remember, Bajani never touched down. I do think that between 7,000 BC and 2,000 BC, a group of Northern Europeans did end up going across the Atlantic and settling that area. Why do I say that? All right, remember that question about Johnny's mom had 3 kids, what was their names? You're going to understand the relevance of that question right now. Any type of innovation that a person comes up with cannot be replicated or duplicated by a foreign group of people autonomously unless it is an invention of a biological necessity. When you go back to toolkits from, let's say like 90,000 years ago in Africa, you got toolkits, right? You got your scraper, you got your hand axes, you got your cleavers and stuff like that. Now that's ubiquitous because that's a biological necessity. If you got to kill animals, you got to have something like that. But when you get to a more extravagant weapon, such as an arrow and a bow, or even a boat itself, a boat is not a biological necessity. How is it that these Native Americans in the North, I'm excluding Central and South America, how is it that these Native Americans in the North also had arrows and bows? In which Thorvald, Karl Stephanie, and his crew was attacked by.
Yeah.
Now, how old is the oldest boat? I'm going to ask you that question.
I have no idea.
9,000 years ago.
Huh.
Yes. One was found in the Netherlands. Thank you. I appreciate that. One was found in the Netherlands, supposedly based on radiocarbon dating. Okay. Supposedly. It goes back to 7,200 BC. Then there's another one in France that goes back 300 years after that, 6,900 BC. Now, Denmark, you know where Denmark is? Okay, it's between Germany and Scandinavia, right? Sweden, Finland, Norway, or you go on water, whatever. There was a pattern found there which dates back 300 years before the oldest logboat was found. So this is 7500 BC. Now, this is the earliest fucking evidence of a maritime rudimentary form of a vehicle. You can't find anything older than that. Now, if that was a biological necessity, human beings been here for at least 100,000 years. You accept that? Yeah. Okay. Why is it out of 100,000 years, only 9,000 years ago, somebody came up with the idea of a boat? Now, from 7200 BC, as time goes on, up until 2000 BC, 4,000 years ago, this particular invention is going to become a little bit more enhanced. Because if it takes at least 2 weeks to go from Scandinavia, or actually Greenland to northern Canada, northeastern Canada, if you got like a fucking log boat that's only 10 feet in length, 4 feet in height, you gotta wait until your invention or that invention itself becomes a little bit more advanced. Probably not as advanced as a ship in Egypt, you know what I'm saying, during the 4th millennium BC, but it's going to become more advanced. So even when it does become advanced between 7,000 and 2,000 BC, you're still not going to have some type of huge expansion. So in other words, I think a very small group of people, not all collectively at once, but eventually, ended up going across the Atlantic and made it to northern Canada. So the about the arrow and the bow is an invention that those people just replicated there using the surrounding environment around them. So, going back to my initial point, Bjarni and Leif Erikson were not the first Northern Europeans to make it here. And I'm not talking about the people that came from Russia through the Bering Strait. That's 15 to 20,000 years ago. I'm not talking about those people at all. I'm talking about between 7,000 and 2,000 BC. That's what I believe. Now, I don't know if you want to respond to that before I go on about Christopher Columbus.
No, I got nothing. I got nothing to offer you because you've obviously done the research.
So let me
This is all grounded in.
Before I continue, let me just show you something. It's not for validation. It's not being goofy. I just want to. Hold on one second. Look.
I mean, you could say that.
These is what I got from books. So many different books that I read. All right? And I remember everything.
That's an anthology. You're compiling an anthology of history.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research, and like I say, I do cross-referencing, but I try to read between the lines and figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? So that's a theory that I came up with. The blog I'm doing about Christopher Columbus on my YouTube page, I got like a part 1 and a part 2 up there. The part 3 is going to encompass the whole dynamic about the Vikings heading here. The side theory that I just explained, I'm going to explain that too. Then I'm going to tie it back to Christopher Columbus and go through my reasons as to why his overall narrative, some aspects of it, don't make sense.
Yeah. What's the name of the page? I'm going to get it.
Just under my real name, Johnny Fraction.
Okay.
Because I had one before that under JL, but most of those blogs are just philosophical. But this one is a little bit more concrete in regards to history. I got a few videos up there that's private.
Johnny?
I'm done with it. Yeah, Johnny Fraction.
Fraction.
Fraction, like math. Okay. So I got that up there. Part 3 should be coming by Wednesday, I want to say.
Because, you know, I can't respond because I'm not equipped to respond. I have no frame of reference and a historical perspective.
But you get like yesterday.
But I understand.
Yesterday, it was a guy that I met over there by Walgreens, right across the street. He's talking about Islam. He knew a whole lot more than I knew about it, but shit, I'm right there in the moment. We talking, I asked you a question, and the conversation turned to like an hour and 30 minutes.
What I want to do is I want to put History Geek onto your page.
That's what I want.
So they can respond to you, and it could be a dialectic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I like.
Where they push you and go, no, your assumptions are faulty here, and here's the reason why, and so you can get it tight.
That makes more sense. That's what I want. That's why I call it Patriot.
And I know that I'm gonna come across this story. I just know it. I can feel it. And I'm gonna be like, I got a YouTube page you gotta check out.
You know what? Today, this happened today. It kind of makes sense. I'm talking to the librarian, she's like, you still working on Christopher Columbus? I'm like, yeah. And I said, you know why I'm still working on it? She says, why? I'm like, because I'm trying to hit every single angle so I can make sure I know what I'm talking about. That's why I wanted that letter that was written to Christopher Columbus, because I can imagine the naysayers saying, wait a minute, it was planned for them to go across the Atlantic and hit India. They didn't know anything about, Central and South America. You know what I mean? So I want to read information that may challenge my assumptions before I complete my package. So when I complete my package, I'll be pretty confident that any type of argument somebody else might come up with, what I provide already might do away with that shit. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. I had to read about Martin Wolfe Mueller. You know about him, right? Okay, he was the guy that named this landmass after Amerigo Vespucci. Amerigo Vespucci didn't get here until 1502. So I had to read about both of them. And that guy was German, by the way. Amerigo Vespucci obviously came from Italy. I had to read about Piri Reis, which a lot more complimentary information I came across. Piri Reis, you know who he is? No. Okay, he was from the Ottoman Empire, but he was a naval captain, and he was also a navigator. He was born in, because he died at 88 years old by his own country, which is fucked up, because they killed him only because he lost the war in Portugal. But he was a decorated fucking captain. He messed up one time, and y'all gonna kill this man. But anyway, he came up with the oldest accurate map of North and South America. The reason why it was accurate because of the longitude and the latitude relative to Africa. All right? Central America, as far as the longitude, is directly parallel to Northern Africa. And then South America is directly parallel to West Africa. So that's how it was pretty accurate when you look at his map. Now, you had somebody else that came up with a pretty old map, too, which is Juan de la Cosa. Now, that guy also was born in Spain, and he made a lot of trips with Christopher Columbus here. He made 7 altogether, and he did touch down in North America, even though Christopher Columbus himself never did, but he did. So I had to check out his map, too. Now, why am I doing this? Because Giovanni Caboto, I believe his name is, was born in Italy, Genoa, Italy, I believe. He did end up in Seville, Spain for a little bit. He had, tax problems, I guess, when he was supporting people, but he did end up in Spain. Okay. Now, he made his initial decision to travel across the Atlantic when he was in Spain. He ended up going northwest in Bristol, England. All right, that's the British Isles. Yeah. The king of England at the time was a guy by the name of Henry VII. Okay. Henry VII, well, before he gave his validation, he gave him his patent to travel across the Atlantic under their flag. Okay. It was a banking family called the Bardi Firm or something like that in London who financed. And then there was another group also that financed Giovanni journey across the Atlantic, and then he finally got the okay from England. Now, he made it to Newfoundland or Vinland in 1497. Now, he also wanted to get to China as well. But how the fuck did he know where Vinland was at? I don't think that was accidental, like he was just trying to get to China and so-called came across Vinland. Yeah. Because he communicated his ideas to Isabella in Spain at that time. So if these maps was not made, I'm talking about Juan de la Cosa and Piri Reis, if those maps were not made until the early 16th century, how the fuck did Giovanni know where Newfoundland is at? Now, you got the Icelandic sagas and all of that, but those came out like in what? I think the 12th century, the 12th century AD. Now, I'm not sure if the people in Spain had a copy of it, but I do think like it was a select, not even a select, but a certain group of people that knew about Reed Harrison's journey.
Get this.
Go ahead.
It seems like throughout history there's always been a select few who are privy to knowledge.
Okay.
They're riding the wave of innovation or just rediscovery before the masses. And you can tell because things like this, where it's like, how in the world do that? Oh, shit.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, how in the world is he navigating to Newfoundland before the earliest recorded maps of that area
Exactly.
are out there? I wonder what that says about the now, because a thing that even just a cursory look at history has told me is there's nothing new under the sun. These patterns just repeat. What are the new things that we don't know about that others do?
So you're touching on like a pattern and the history repeats itself as far as the dynamic and who's, I hate saying in the know because it sounds arrogant, but who has certain...
But there's always inner circles.
Right.
Always. There's always. If you think royalty and that line, that structure of people who have consolidated power has changed,
Right.
you're living in an illusion. I think.
In other words, you would be, what, naive, right?
Yeah,
You'd be like a sheep walking around like, they're not lying to you.
I get what you
But see, the thing is, like Giovanni, like I say, I can hear people saying, like, dude, you got the story wrong. He was trying to get to China.
Yeah.
He accidentally came across Newfoundland. I just don't completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't. Some type of map had to exist.
You have to. I feel like you have to take this and somehow put it up in a scholarly format. Those are the only people who are going to be able to follow you and actually be in position to push and prod you to test your theory so that it's tight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Kind of like building your muscles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I like.
They're the only ones who are going to be able to challenge you because the person on the street is not going to be able to come up and counter the research you've done.
Some. You never know. You might have some really, you might, you know,
Very
people.
few. I
Okay.
feel like very, very few.
Okay. You got a cigarette on you? Break. Another service.
I promised the pastor that I would drop in.
What you think about this? Say, I don't want to say I'm one of those few, I'm just me. But I put this information together in a scholarly format.
Yeah.
But I like to make it comprehensive. Like, I want like, I take a Malcolm X approach. I want the everyday man to understand what the hell I'm saying, because I believe personally, if you're trying to communicate your thoughts, why would you confuse the hell out of people's brain? You know what I mean? It's not like like I'm trying to hide it just for a certain amount of people that have the level of comprehension to see it. I want the everyday person to see it also.
Well, I know why.
So
that you make yourself feel better.
yeah, that's cool.
I have all this knowledge, and you can only comprehend this little crumb. Here you go.
I mean, not me, but
I
other people may do that. Or maybe they just genuinely, like, they just have so much freaking vocab that it helps them
That's the only
communicate.
way they can communicate. Yeah.
For me, I take the extra approach and I break it down so that everyday person can see it. But, hey, I take all these theories, right?
Yeah.
because this is something I'm going to be doing for life, really, regardless of what I got going on as far as occupation. Now, when I put this together, and I'm putting it all out there, some of it may be to borrow a word during the Spanish Inquisition, dangerous thoughts.
Yeah.
What you think may happen?
I think you're going to lead a very exciting life.
Yeah, I see that exciting might mean a lot of stuff. But you might be talking about excitement as far as somebody might try to set me up and throw me in prison or whatever.
You know what? You got to speak the truth.
Okay.
And if that's the truth on your heart, you got to speak it.
Now, what's your name?
Joe.
Okay, Joe. I may put this conversation up on YouTube. I might not because it's kind of like I'm giving too much and I want to do a blog strictly about this. But in case I decide to do that, you'll have your permission. I need your full name, though.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, wait.
My name is Joseph Jung, and I'm giving a shout-out to State Your Case.
There you have it.